Hello guys and welcome back to the Maple Leaf channel. You are watching Science Cities episode 19 in Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. First off, a massive thank you to every one of you subscribing. Your support, likes and comments truly mean the world and keeps me motivated. At the time of recording, we've hit 205 subscribers with on average about 400 views per episode. What's my big goal? It's actually 500 subs by February 2026, right on my birthday. If you're enjoying the builds, strategies and story, hit that like button and subscribe. It boosts the algorithm like crazy, believe me. On my side, I promise to keep delivering the quality content that you deserve. Alright, let's get into it. Today's agenda: wrap up industrial zone planning, kick off the new city layout and push forward with Southwest Railway construction to connect everything down there. And look at that, the bridge is almost done. What a milestone crossed. So now my plan is get rail laying operation ASAP, so we can focus on rail construction office, and that way while the track layer chugs along, our construction office teams can focus on roads and establishing their permanent base. No matter you start, early start or vanilla, a quick pivot to permanent construction office is a game changer. It ramps up build speed dramatically, letting you hit settlement phase and first profits way faster. But be careful, budget discipline is the key. Equipment isn't cheap and ongoing maintenance like repairs, fuel, they all adds up very quickly, so plan smart and you will be golden. Let's begin. Okay friends, rail construction office it is. So we will need the rail construction office itself. Water tower, water unloading station, pump and pipe work, so let's begin doing so. I have a plan to position the rail construction office in this area and connect it to just one line, so I can start building the whole rail track and make it complete right to this area over here. There will be some infrastructure required, but I'm sure we will deal with it as we go. So rail construction office is here. I'll go with a small one. There isn't much rail to build, to be honest, so... And as always, it has to be as close to the customs as possible, so probably position it somewhere around this area. I'll connect just one track, one to the right, one to the left, so that disassembled rail tracker can achieve the rail construction office, can drive to the rail construction office very quickly and build this small piece of the railroad. Now, next up is our water loading unloading station. It is right over here. There we go. We have an option to select 3 cars and 2 cars. I'm pretty sure 2 will be more than enough for the purpose of this construction office. I'm not concerned about the space at the moment, so I'll just put it over here. I want this building to be aligned with the rail construction office, and that's it. Actually, it might not be a bad idea if I aligned with the grid, so that the road at least will connect straight. I'll do the same with the construction office if you don't mind. In this area of the map, the grid is a little bit skewed, if you like, so it's a little bit more challenging to build, but we will deal with it. Let me quickly find construction office again. There it is. Alright, so I'll align the rails and align the exit to the top and with the grid like that. Probably a little bit to the left. Like so. And again, 2 tracks. To the left and to the right. Simple as. Now, we need water tower and we need a depot. Water tower, I'll go with this one, which has a capacity of 200 cubic meters, which is more than enough, as we know from our first city. I want to utilize that water tower to actually supply water to the coaling station, so I'll probably position that big water tower somewhere, not in the middle, but somewhere over here. And we will need connection there. Yeah, that should do it. Now, the water unloading station can technically pump water to the water tower, but I don't want to risk it. I did a bit of a testing and it works okay on the flat surface like this one, but I don't want to risk it. I'll put a small pump in between. Small pump will do just fine. Again, it doesn't matter where you put it. All it needs is an access to the road so that the workers can come and build it. There we go. Not the asphalt. I would love to, but it's way too early for it. And let's stretch the road just like that horizontally. Connect both and then connect our water tower. I'll do it like that. And stretch the road a little bit further. I think that was a misclick on my end. Like so. Now the pipe work is easy. We don't need too much. All we need is the storage to be full at any moment. There we go. And do the same, but with the middle one. Yeah, that's the one. Done. Now we can connect pipe to the tower and provide water. Actually, I forgot. I think the workers at the rail construction office do need drinking water as well. But let's see how we go. I can't remember really from the top of my head. Now we need a depot where the trains will leave. And this depot will also be situated on that line. Last time I put it over here and I had to build extra rails. This time around I think I can get away with positioning of that train depot right here. I'll go with the long one. The reason is I want to make sure that longer trains, which will eventually start exporting bauxite and then aluminium, will be all good. There we go. Now all I need to do is just to have connections on the left and on the right. From practice that I have now, I do understand that those tracks are very, very rarely being used. I mean, I will build all these roads and then the construction office pretty much becomes redundant unless I decide to connect this city to the first one, which could be done, but I'm sure I will need a proper track layers in order to do so. Alright, how are we doing with the bridge? The bridge is at 80%. The biggest hold up is the concrete. I've got, I think, 4 concrete mixes. Yeah, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're doing just fine, but it's still not enough. That's why I have the concrete plant over there. Otherwise, it would take them ages to build the infrastructure on the left-hand side. What else do we need? Obviously, electricity. In the last episode, I said that I'll research the connection with the border, and I did that offline, so the research was completed. All I need to do is now just position it somewhere over here. Even though I will have my own power plant, which will work on coal, I will have to use that temporarily connection anyway in order to power up this area and probably this area just a little bit. I will do all the planning with regards to the wire later on. At the end of the episode you will know why. Okay, now we need a temporarily connection so that these guys can start building this area straight away. There is not much choice here, and this road will be temporarily road, as I said, so I'll just connect it like this, and these guys will be in reach with these 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings. Now these are group number 2, so you guys should be able to come here. Of course, they can't drive to any of those buildings because these roads are not dirt road. So let me quickly fix that. Unfortunately, it is a little bit of oversight on my end, but it happens from time to time. This game has a lot of things to remember. Sometimes when you start planning something, you feel like you know what you're doing, you've done it multiple times, but then all of a sudden you realize that you forgot half of what you thought you remember. Let me delete that section here and just drag the road. I still want this road to be a little bit aligned, even though those buildings will not be used often, but it's pure aesthetics, I guess, preference. Sweet. Now we can start building this with these guys, and let's go with the rail construction office first, and then whatever we need to build afterwards. Okay, that was the intro done. I want these guys to be busy as much as I can so that the process doesn't stop. Now, let's focus on the second point in our today's agenda. Next, we head to the industrial area where we already have the coal power plant, this one here, concrete plant, this one here, and the heating plant, this one here. In the last episode I mentioned this area specialization will be aluminium production. And by this area I mean this area and that area. The whole area, in other words. It's undoubtedly very expensive to build. Just the infrastructure and buildings alone, not to mention the massive workforce needed. And what are the workers? Well, that's your main expense in every new city. An old city, of course. They need food, clothing, soon electronics as a basic need, in short, costs. Larger population means larger bills. Knowing full well the financial tightrope, I want to leverage the existing resource delivery, which is this setup here, and storage setup for a bonus production line. Its income, I hope, will pay for the city's needs and hopefully turn into a little bit of a profit. It's super controversial, some swear it's elite tier, others can call it trash. Explosive guys, I'm putting into the test personally to see who's right. Paper math shows very slim margins, chemicals for explosive ain't cheap at all, but it's profitable still. I don't want to duplicate food clothing, I've said it before, no min-max grind, I play for joy, sharing progress with YouTube viewers like you. So you will witness firsthand if explosive factories pay off. Oh, and forklifts. They recently dropped for early start, and I think it's a perfect timing to experiment. So let's get to the build itself. For the explosive factory, we do need chemicals, gravel and wood. Wood and gravel is very cheap. The only expensive part of the products is chemicals. Chemicals will be stored here, so the only storage that we're missing is actually wood, storage for wood. I've got this railway cargo station over here, and I think I can just connect open storage to it, and it will just be storage for wood. Let me just align it a little bit, and there we go. I want the road to face to the right, so that all buildings have access to the construction offices. Oh, I forgot to unpause the game. Excuse me. Alright, I actually want to have two explosive factories, and one is gonna be on this side, the other one is gonna be on the right hand side. We need to place those two in such a way that all the resources which both factories need will be delivered to it by forklifts, and the ready good products will be delivered again by forklifts to that storage on the left hand side. I can tell you that it's not an easy task to plan, but I'll show you how to do that. It looks amazing actually, and I hope it works amazing as well, not just looks. So I'm gonna go with positioning my first factory right on the edge of the storage, like so. And another one, I want to have it symmetrical on the right hand side with a little bit of a gap in between. Let me just align it. I think that's aligned by using the factory connection here. And that factory may actually be slightly to the right, like so. I can always replace it if I want to, so let's leave it like that. Now, the gravel storage is over here. We can transfer the gravel from that storage to this area by using conveyors. So let's do that first. Conveyors live here. We will go with the ones which have big height. The first one doesn't really matter where it will be positioned. So the first one goes somewhere here. And then I will destroy that connection for now. We don't need it. Now the next conveyor will have to be somewhere in the middle, but before I put it in, I need to know how the forklift garage will look like. There it is. So it has 3 connections, and I forgot to mirror that building. Yeah, I did. Let me quickly do that. I will mirror it by pressing T and again put in the same area, aligning it with the explosive factories on the left. You will soon see why it's so important to do this alignment, because without the mods you can't have the crossroad in between the standard road and the forklift factory connection. That's why it is a little bit of a puzzle to build up. This gentleman can live right in the middle, and the middle means somewhere over here. I'm sure I should be able to connect those factory roads to both buildings at the same time. So put it like so. Now we can connect to this factory and connect to this factory. For some reason it wasn't aligned, but now it is. Alright. Now, the next step is to connect that storage and that storage with the forklift garage. And it's done through the forklift. It's called factory connection crossing, that guy here. And actually I was going to check whether the forklift capacity is big enough. Let me just quickly check the customs and see. So forklifts, there we go. Capacity of the one that I have access to, and it will be with me until 9055. Let's see how much wood it can bring. 1.8 ton of wood and chemicals, half a ton of chemicals in one go. And each garage has, I think, 3 vehicles. Can't see it unless it's built. Let me quickly find that. So forklift garage. It has 4 cars. Okay. 4 cars, and their job will be to transfer the resources to the both factories and then deliver the ready products to that storage. Let me see if I can actually fit another forklift garage and connect it to the same factory crossing connection. Sorry, a lot of word of connection, but that's how the naming convention of this game works. We need connection to that storage, and we need connection to the forklift garage. And we only have 1 connection left, so that connection should live on the right hand side and not used at all. So something like that, and let me connect it here, here and here. And now I should be able to put another forklift garage which will have connection to the cross-section. They need that connection in order to operate. That's how the game logic works. Those connections are not just for the beauty, they have a purpose. That way I have 8 cars, which I hope will be sufficient for the goal that I have in front of me. Now, the biggest challenge is to have these conveyors to be connected to both of these storages. And let's see if we can make that happen. Let me just put it for the experiment and see what actually doesn't let me connect. Okay, that cross-section. Alright. A little bit of a planning won't hurt. Can we get it a little bit closer? So this is the area where it wants to be connected. So all I need to do is to move that cross-section in front of me to that side. And that way this connection will disappear and I can probably put it somewhere in between. Alright, let me do that quickly. So we need to take out cross-section first. And put it on the right hand side over here. But bear with me for a moment. It actually works. Okay, well, it's not aesthetically pleasing connections. It's functional, I get that. But I'm sure it will look okay when it will be built. Let's go back to our conveyors and see if we can do what we want them to do. Some might say, why I even bother doing so? Well, I don't want car traffic in this industrial area to be very extensive, because if it is, it will consume a lot of fuel, and I don't want fuel to be consumed on anything but delivery the goods to the customs, and that's going to be done by train, which uses coal, which is cheap. Otherwise, the margins or the profits from explosive factories will be even lower than that. Alright, now I have it. Now all I need to do is to reposition that conveyor on the right hand side. Thank you for being with me on that long journey. And let me mirror it. Yeah. And see if the road can go to the right. Yeah, it can. Okay. Hopefully it will work as I want it to work. Now, what we have to do is we need to add at the bus station, and that is very, very easy. I'll allow myself to make Greenpeace angry a little bit, and we'll just clear that area so that I can see what's going on there. Like that. And probably use the grid just for the sake of having horizontal road here. Alright, I can always align that road as I want later on. I'm not gonna bother making it perpendicular. So this is the area for the bus station. So let's put one. Those factories, the explosive factories, they need 75 workers per shift. The bus station, which can handle 100 workers, isn't gonna be enough. I'll go with this one. It's a drive-through and it has relatively small footprint, which is what we need. Now, this garage has road access. That means that construction officers will be able to reach and build it. And this garage will have its road connected to the right hand side, which will become our ring road, if you like, which goes like so. Now, explosive factory is a very dangerous production zone. I think what won't hurt is to have a checkpoint with the gate. And I almost forgot about our beautiful storage, which also needs road. So we'll go with the one, and there's going to be another one. What it will eventually become is just the roads for the firefighters to access, so I'm not really concerned about the shape of that. Now we have entrance on this side and we have main entrance on this side. The reason I'm doing this is to have an ability to build a fence. Checkpoint on its own is very tiny building. It has the raising bar and it looks like a checkpoint, like a proper checkpoint. But I want this area to be protected from external visitors. Meanwhile, I think I forgot to click notify when ready, so they finished it. And let me task them to build the next buildings. This, and also water tower. Alright, and notify. Amazing. I will check whether these guys require drinking water, but I'm not really concerned for now, and for the time being these gonna be foreign workers working on that rail construction office. So let's go back to our checkpoint. I'm gonna go with quite standard for Soviet times prefab fence, which was all over the place, and it still is. And this road will go here, not the road, excuse me, the fence. And we will also have a checkpoint. I reckon it might actually fit here, but it's going to be too busy area for the checkpoint to exist. So we might have it over here, and then fence will wrap it up. But it won't let me build a complete fence without any breaks in this area. Alright, for now, let's just put it for our future consideration. Now, I think I have a road over here which I can extend and close that loop. So let's quickly do that while I remember. Delete a little bit of rail and then extend our concrete road. Azimuth is 1 degree, so I need to catch where it's 0. There it is. And we will close the loop like so. A little bit of space. I'm sure in the future it will be occupied by something. For now we'll leave it as it is. Now, where do we want the checkpoint to be? If I put it here, then the fence will be going like that. For the fence to be built, it has to have a connection with the fence gate, otherwise construction offices won't find it. We can leave a little bit of space in here and then have another fence coming that way. We actually still need a road, and we need a road here, so the fence should be outside of that road. Alright, so let me think about it offline, and I'll probably come back to it later on. It's a decoration part of the build, it's just pure cosmetic, but I like how it looks. Now, what we need also, we need some pedestrian paths, and those pedestrian paths will be on both sides of the bus stop. Now I can tell that the bus stop is slightly misaligned because this garage is misaligned. It's not really in the middle, so I want the bus stop to be in the middle in order to make a nice connection. Bus stop, 200 workers, should be right in the middle, which is about here. And I'm sure we can move that depot as well. Now the road is straight. Factory connections should be okay to connect. There we go. And we need to do the same trick again. There was a video that I made last week, which is dedicated to the discussion about the upcoming release, or not a release, it's an update to the game, which will add horses. And in that video I was talking about having a graphics overhaul over the adding of the horses, which in my opinion would make way more benefit to the community. Now, any construction area will benefit from having a monument, and this monument could be anything. Just pay attention to the radius. You see at the bottom of the icon it says government loyalty influence plus 4.5%, and its radius is 90 meters. 90 meters is roughly this radius. So if I put that building over here, that monument over here, it will cover both production buildings. And the higher the loyalty, the higher the productivity of the building. On the right hand side, I will let workers to enjoy a little bit of a fontaine during their shift change or just lunchtime, like so. Alright, those two buildings will require garbage containers, and because we were so generous with the space, we can squeeze the big one, which should be within the range of both of these buildings, I'm pretty sure. Let me take a look. Look at that. These guys are just doing absolute stunning work. They've almost built everything. So we can actually start supplying gravel, steel, prefab bricks and boards, as well as electrical components and fuel and coal. Okay, we will leave auto search enabled. I'm not concerned about what this rail construction office will be busy with. We will need to establish a supply, and something tells me that if we don't have electricity, the distribution office will not supply anything to it. So let's go and build our transformer in connection to the border. As we started doing so, I will probably lay a few power lines so that I don't forget to do so. And as always, think about the potential need of yours in the future. Even if you can't calculate it, it's a good practice to have a switch somewhere over here. Another transformer, I probably don't need it right now in this area, because once the plant will be running, will be up and operational, I will have my own electricity. I will probably leave it here, and let's make sure that our 6 connections facing the direction which makes sense, which is this one. High voltage, I think 8 megawatts will be absolutely enough. And we will have 1 pillar there, 1 pillar there. Okay. These guys should be able to work on those wires straight away. This concludes our second point in our today's agenda for this video, and also concludes the layout of the industrial area. I will quickly guide you through to what is going to happen here. These two will hopefully pay the bill for the city, as well as bring a little bit of money. Now, these storages will have strategic resources stored in them. Food, clothes, electronics, chemicals. This storage will have construction materials, which will help construction officers take the materials out of it and bring to where the construction is going. Coal storage, gravel storage, concrete plant, cement storage, heating plant, and coal power plant. That's it. And when I looked at it, I remembered that I actually forgot to put the road here. Let me do that. And the rail one as well. Good. In order to build this, I reckon it will take me about 1 calendar year, if not faster. Once I have this construction office built and this construction office built, I'm sure the pace will be higher than it is right now. Alright, let's go to the next stage, shall we? Explosive production is fully planned. Now let's talk about the city that will support it. Even though my budget is green and the bank account looks healthy, building a proper city is brutally expensive. Raw math says that 7,000–8,000 citizens city will easily eat 2 million rubles to be built, or even more. So we're doing this smart, in 2 clear phases. Phase 1, around 2,000 people. That's enough workers for all basic infrastructure, kindergartens, schools, police, shops, clinics, plus the manpower our industrial zone needs right now. Keeps costs under control. Phase 2, the big one. A dedicated district built exclusively around the full aluminium production chain. That's where I will go wild with decoration mods to make it look stunning. At the same time, we will construct bauxite mines and processing facilities, so we can start selling raw bauxite immediately and funnel that cash straight into 2 insanely expensive final buildings. Yes, you guys in the comments to the last video were 100% right. Those things cost a fortune. Let's go to the city itself. Every single time me or you stare at an empty patch of land and try to turn it into a living realistic city, it feels overwhelming. And it is. But we have solid starting points. First one is minimum 800 meters from the heating plant. No one wants to live in smog. So let's measure that one. Measurement tool, heating plant, 800 meters, give or take. I can allow for the less distance because I've already researched filters for the production, which decreases the pollution spread drastically and the area or radius of how far pollution goes from the heating plant. So I'll probably go with something like 660, 680 meters over here. Now, the second point, we need roughly 2,000 workers for this stage of the city. So we know exactly how many apartments each building type provides, and I absolutely love experimenting. Let's align our camera to the grid, and we will just draw a basic crossroad right in the middle. This street will have a length of 400 meters. That's going to be the cross section. And another one will also have 400 meters. And now 400 to the right. And 400 to the left. 400 is average distance that pedestrian can go by using their feet. That's why I chose that distance. The main residential block will consist of 120 apartments building. They have entrances on both sides, which makes pedestrian paths much easier to design. And I'm gonna start with this area first, where the district on the left-hand side will be situated. And the buildings I was talking about are, I think, these buildings over here. 120 workers, 80% quality of flats. This time layout will differ from the first city, and I want to give it a distinct industrial settlement vibe. So I'll go with the grid on. I'll leave a little bit of space on the right hand side so that I can have the pedestrian path to go on both sides of the road. And I'll start positioning buildings in a square bracket form, if you like. The first go here. The second one goes perpendicular to the first one. And I'll position it as close to the edge as possible, like so. I don't need to leave the space in between these two buildings, because I'm pretty sure there will be enough space inside the yard of that district to position enough garbage collection containers. That will be the beginning of our district on the left-hand side. Unfortunately, it's hard to use grid and snapping to the grid when you're building something non-standard. Therefore, I will have to eyeball whatever I do. And again, I'll allow myself to delete those trees from the way. Otherwise, it's really hard to see anything. The rear block will stretch along the main street over here and will have its own walkable services, basically the services within the walking distance. Again, I will leave a little bit of space in between those two buildings, so that I can have the pedestrian area going through and align those buildings to this vertical line, so that it looks like a one construction project. And I'm gonna go ahead with 3 buildings in a row, leaving space in between. Yeah, that looks aligned. The back end of that district will have similar positioning of the buildings, which will conclude the full design project of that area. There we go. Unfortunately, can't align it from the get-go, but now it should be fine. Second building goes next to the first one, and then we will close that loop with the building at 90 degrees. And then 2 buildings in front. The construction might not seem very original from the get-go, but I have a little bit of a surprise. So this line goes to this area, and all we need to do is to align with the back of that building. And let me delete those roads here and there. There we go. Now, in the center we will place a few buildings rotated 90 degrees each other, forming a capital letter T or a hammer, whichever you prefer. So I will go with smaller buildings from the middle section here, which has 65 flats and quality of flats 80%. I think that's the ones. Yeah, I think that these are the ones. They look okay. What I'm gonna do is I want to do that T letter to be right in the middle. I'll go it like that. And another one will be positioned very, very close to the first one. On the opposite side, I will have them in the opposite way. The first building will go like so, and the second building will go like so. Is it close enough? Yeah, it is. 4 buildings over here, which kind of makes the full complex look very, very typical to that time. And I thought about this design for quite a while, and I think it looks good. Each corner of this district will have its walkable utilities, as I said. Let's go with kindergartens first. We'll have one in this area, and we will have another one in the opposite corner. And I want this to actually be mirrored, like so. Yep, that looks symmetrical to me. Also, we will have a couple more utilities buildings and recreational area, so that people can, have a walk, have a something to do sports-wise. So I'll go with the soccer pitch in this corner. This one I like the most because it looks very, very natural. Probably I need to leave a little bit of space for the pedestrian roads, like so. And in this corner here, I can position something like a fountain. I haven't discovered or researched the brutalism still. I will do it soon, so that I can use those 3 fountains actually. And we will go with medium round fountain, which can easily be fitted somewhere over here, and align it slightly with the grid, like that. Now let's quickly see if we can connect our pedestrian paths easily. If I do like that, it won't let me do that. Okay, then we will go with the line in the middle. I thought it might be easier to do, but that's alright. We still can use the eyeball and basically draw the line the way we like. I don't need snapping here, so I'll take it off, so I can drag that line over here. And same goes on the other side, but this time around I think I can use snapping. Yes, I can. And then the line here. This line actually needs to be slightly extended to both ends, making a cross section across the main street. Alright, that's very usual and very typical for that game. There we go. Now we still have area in the middle which can be occupied by something else, like cinema for example, in order to satisfy cultural needs of the population. So we'll figure something out later on what to put in here in particular. Now on this area I would like to go ahead and put an indoor pool. Yeah, there we go. We will make entrances facing towards the buildings, and these workers will have good time off work. Make it like so, and then provide them with the pedestrian paths. On both ends we have enough space to put garbage containers, and I'm sure when I will connect all these paths, these 4 buildings will be within the reach of those garbage containers, covering this section here. Now, on the outskirts of that block, I want to have a clinic, and I like using small clinics. If you have the same opinion or an opposite opinion, please share. And I'm comparing these small clinics to the big hospitals. For some reason, if you place small clinics strategically, they work way better than the hospital. Everyone has access, walking distance access I should say, and moreover, no one is complaining that the ambulance didn't arrive. Something like that should do just fine. Again, we can reposition it to align the pedestrian road, but doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure, given that distance of 400 meters, these guys will be able to reach to the clinic. Now, I said there will be a pedestrian area, pedestrian road in between the buildings and the main street. Let's put it here. Okay, that was easy. The second part of the district will be situated on the right hand side. It is a little bit more intense to be built, I should say. Therefore, I think we will conclude this episode right now. Friends, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Of course, planning is far from over. We still have to run water pipes, sewage, power lines, heating and waste management, all the invisible stuff that actually makes a city work. So here's the deal. I want your input on how we finish this one. Option 1. We hop on stream together, finish every last detail in real time, have a chat, answer some questions, and I maybe even tweak things based on your suggestions. Pure lived gameplay. Option number 2, I record a normal edited episode where I quietly build all the remaining infrastructure and some nice camera work, commentary, and you get the polished result. Both will give you a great content to watch anyways, just in different styles. The choice is absolutely yours. Drop a comment and tell me which one you rather see. I'll happily make the one you vote for. If you're curious what my streams look like, we already have 3 full ones in the live tab on the channel. Go check them out and compare for yourself. I'm not a super professional streamer, I did literally 3 streams. Either way, the city is going to look awesome once everything is connected and running. That's it for today. I mean, huge thank you for watching if you watched this episode till this moment. Thank you for every like, comment and subscription, it means the world. I'll see you very soon in the next episode, whichever format you choose. Take care, comrades, and bye for now.